the whole newspaper, Adriaan, having taken a personal racist decision and chose to become typical of a racist white boy who suffers from white privilege, attacks the EFF unprovoked, and does that consistently, now came with the rules that exclude the EFF, because the rest of other parties, they can come together carrying each other. They are funded by one person. EFF has to go and look for other partners for it to advertise on News24. Talk about suppressing. The News24 has made it its business to decampaign the EFF. And we're being nice and we're being polite. And when we respond, we're going to be called anti-media freedom, anti-this, anti-that. There's no organization that has this kind of interactions with the media and highly accessible to the media in South Africa other than the EFF. Organizations, I speak of parties that are well represented in parliament, not these things that are run from the boots of cars. Other political parties, the right to express ourselves is being violated. So we are going to take News24 to the Electoral Court, because we cannot allow a media platform to run a political campaign against other political parties. They need to declare that it is free and fair for certain parties who want to advertise on that platform to be excluded on the basis that their competitors are refusing to come with them, to come and advertise. When the DA opens its mouth all the time, says, no EFF, will never work with the EFF. Imagine where you're going to get the DA to come and advertise with you when he told you that you are actually nothing. Tina Jumaat was killed after the reports were given that Tina Jumaat, there's threats on her life, and she was being questioned by the Hawks and all of that. None of you has ever have an interest on what happened to that person. She's gone now. There's no clear, no one can give me a clear explanation. But what comforts me is that when the public protector reported this to Parliament, the Speaker, Mapisa Ngakula, defended this mess. And when it was her turn, they didn't defend her. That's good. That's how they eat each other. But there was recordings where Tina Jumaat was saying bribes are needed from Pemima Jodina, from Janji, from Ugadewetre. Yes. Mapisa. Ngakula was also going to get the portion of her pensions. Nothing. With recordings, she can't say, okay, let's institute some smaller inquiry because there is some prima facie evidence. Nothing. Nothing. And that woman is sleeping now. No justice has been achieved for her. You have a speaker who is in trouble with the law. That is another arm of the state. You have a chief justice who's in trouble with the law because Zuma has taken him to court that his appointment was not correct. But be that as it may, Chief Justice Zondo made a statement that the ANC made a good decision in 2017 when it elected Cyril Ramaphosa as a president. That was a good decision which saved the country. No one is holding him. And even this professional, including black professional legal bodies, Bhutan, no one has reported him to JCC. Because Mogoeng was charged for commenting about politics in relation to Israel. This one is commenting about politics in South Africa, worse, internal party political issues. There's no discipline against him. That's another, they're doing each other favors. Then you have a president of the country in trouble with the law because Pala will not go away. He can do whatever he wants to do. Let me tell you, there was a case opened by that former DG of intelligence, Fraser. Okay, there's a case number. They now have to go and say we decline to prosecute so that we can prosecute him privately. There was a case number. All manner of evidence was presented by Fraser. Till today, that is not an issue. What is an issue? VBS. Malema must speak about VBS. Give me a case number against me on VBS. That is an issue. This is an issue we'll never let go. Where is the case number? Even in the absence of the case number, because of political hatred and political agenda, we must still go after them. Shivambo must account for VBS. Because of VBS, Shivambo's brain, economic brain, has shrunk. He can no longer be a good economic analyst. He can't make a good minister of finance. He went VBS. There are people who are in the dock now. There is a white man, former CEO of VBS, who was arrested and who confessed, now serving time in jail. People are being prosecuted on daily basis, especially in Limpopo. There's former CFO, CEOs, and all of that. Not a single law enforcement officer has ever even sent an SMS to ask us about VBS, including those fraud hawks. You know, the hawks, when they hear, hey, there is a case coming against you, then they start saying, no, I'm so and so from the hawks. There is this thing, we can close it, send this much. Not even a fake call was ever made to us about VBS. But VBS. Because you cannot find anything politically, ideologically, to falter the EFF. That's why Moelet Mbeki speaks about the leadership of the EFF, likes nice things. That's why they want houses with swimming pools and all of that. And then you don't ask him if Fidel Castro was a revolutionary. If he says yes, you say, didn't Fidel Castro have a swimming pool? Didn't Fidel Castro have a Rolex watch? The president, former president of Venezuela, Chavez, Hugo Chavez, a good dresser of note, a man of style. But if you compare Chavez with Malema, to Malema's haters, Chavez is a revolutionary, but there's nothing that I'm doing different from what Chavez did. Who said Chavez didn't have a pool? And Lenin. What is revolutionary about smoking cigar? Because Fidel Castro used to smoke cigar. But if you were to smoke cigar now, you're going to be taken a picture and be questioned, what is revolutionary about cigar? But Fidel has never been questioned. What is revolutionary about smoking cigar when you're a revolutionary? So those are the inconsistencies, those things of calling us flip-floppers. Musi Maimane said, we don't need political parties who must contest as independents. Musi Maimane today is contesting as a political party. You have never called him a flip-flop. This one who can't speak properly, Action essay, Mashaba. And people said, I'm attacking people who was stuttering. Mashaba is not stuttering. No, it's not. Mashaba doesn't have a proper thought process. So he can't think and speak at the same time. That is a serious weakness in a person. He can't think. And then in Parliament, I was making a simple point. Or when you come with one seat or two or three, it's 3 minutes. What is Mashaba going to say there with that kind of articulation? You are wasting your time. He will leave that Parliament without having said a word. Imagine that the speaker is the EFF in the coalitions. Mashaba, Honorable Mashaba. Then he starts being worse. By the time he utters first sentence, the time is over. Sit down. That's what you need to. Once you stand up, on a point of order, speaker, what's that? It's not point of order, points are made. It's done. Because we are fighting for time. So, Mashaba says the EFF, when he leaves the DA, the EFF is the only party that has never come to me and asked me for tenders. I've got a high respect for the EFF. Today he calls EFF all sorts of names. None of you call him a flip-flop. None of you call President Mandela a flip-flopper. After he said he's going to nationalize, immediately after President Dali was standing next to him there. And then later Mandela said privatization is not a policy of the ANC. Well, I mean nationalization, we're going through privatization. It's not a flip-flop. President Mbeki, who said, how do I do door-to-door and explain to people to vote for a party which has got Nkabis in their branches? Today he says, I'm available, I'm going to campaign for my party. It's wrong for you not to campaign for the party. It's not being called a flip-flop. Why do you call the EFF flip-flopper? It's because you can't falter it politically and ideologically, and its commitments to fighting for the poor of the poorest. So we are here to say to you, we are available, and we are a government in waiting, and there's nothing that really can come between us and the union building. The ANC is at its weakest state now. If we miss this opportunity, we're gone, we're out. This is an opportune moment for South Africans to make a serious historical turn, because 1994 we thought we were there, only to realize now that we are now in a more crisis than we were in 1994. So the coalitions is my last point. We are open to talk to everyone. And our demands are very simple, which have always been. They don't change. Yeah, they can change here and there. And we are not far with many parties on what needs to happen. I mean, ATM, Mazapo, PAC, MK, including the ANC, by the way, on the land question. We are not far apart. We had actually had an agreement. Was it in this hotel? In this hotel, with the ANC, that we are going to expropriate land without compensation. And they developed a cold feet. That we are going to nationalize the Reserve Bank, that we are going to establish the state-owned bank. These two we followed up when we got into Parliament. We made proposals on the nationalization of the Reserve Bank, made a proposal on the establishment of state-owned bank and the nationalization of mines. And one of the simplest demands we made was remove the stem from the national anthem. We can find another Afrikaans version if you want Afrikaans. But the stem is not an Afrikaans version. The stem, it's a political song which cemented white Afrikaner superiority. And they were singing this song when they were torturing our people. In Flag Plus, when they were having you encaged, they bribe meat there, they drink because they are drunkards. When they get drunk with the smell of their meat, they start singing this song. Today you are a survivor of Flag Plus. You must come and sing the song that is reminding you of the torture. Can you imagine if someone was to stand here and say, let's ask all the Jewish people to sing Hitler's songs? What's going to happen to you? You won't see the light of the day. But we are being made to sing the songs of our oppressors. We are made to pay Budali an apartheid debt, which its weapons were going to kill us. You must pay for the weapons which were meant for your killing. We're being asked that. We can't. We need the EFF to go to the International Court of Justice, ICJ, for real issues, not this pretentious ANC thing of wanting to pretend like they've got a problem with what is happening in Israel. We need to go to ICJ and say, declare this 382 billion apartheid debt as a debt which should not be paid because it was borrowed by a system which you declared a crime against humanity. Someone goes to buy a gun, borrows a gun to come and kill me. Then, ultimately, the killing flops. They say, no, but this guy's got a debt which he took from us to buy a gun to come and kill you, pay. Why has the ANC not said, but we can't allow this? We can't allow this. With the problems that we have in this country, where many of our people go to bed without food, we are servicing the debt which was meant to kill us. with a budget of 320 billion rands budget deficits. Can you imagine what we can do if that issue is scrapped? They say, no, you no longer pay this. How much we can reduce the international how debt. Much we can reduce the international debt. Service it at a reasonable rate because the apartheid debt is taken out of because the apartheid debt is taken out of that. All of that has not been touched. All of that has not been touched. It needs no one will ever do that. They are all compromised. Because no one will ever do that. They are all compromised. No one will ever do that. We're losing a lot of money to illicit financial flows. We lose a lot of money to tax avoidance. They say tax avoidance is not illegal. It's allowed. And so we will pass legislation that will make it illegal because the revenue of this country depends mainly on the taxes because we've got a state which is not in business. All the state-owned enterprises are gone. So we're relying on the revenue. We cannot afford to lose a single cent from the taxes. So everything is not working, Buddali, except SARS. SARS is working. And someone was trying to mobilize me when they extended the contract of the commissioner. That, yeah, do you see, this is illegal, whatever. But you see, I've got sympathy with this guy. Because I once spoke something political about him, that he's doing this. He wrote me a long letter and said to me, if someone dares to ask me what you said I did, I'll resign with immediate effect. Then I went to check him. I realized that SARS is no longer operating the way it was operating in the past, where it was weaponized against political opponents. They are working. The problem is that we don't have enough people who can afford to pay tax. When you go to SARS, if you want to see that SARS is working, miss your VAT payment today. Tomorrow, 1 past 12, midnight, a letter of interest comes in. No government institution does that. That says to you, hey, Mpofu, your passport is about to expire. They've got your records there. Come and renew. Your driver's license is about to expire. Come and renew. If they can have that system to make us, you missed VAT. This is interest. If they can pick up that, why are they not picking up these other service delivery related matters?
We are not allowed to be discriminating in the name of color, gender, political party, religion, and so on, also in tribe. This is what now Africans, we need to think about. We are one thing, and let us not allow this to happen again in this generation. So this is what Malema's view on his speech, and let me also know your thought in the comment section.